All right, let's talk about the Lions. The Lions having a disappointing day. I got to make a video about, Justin Fields and what he was able to do offensively. But for now, Lions now back-to-back weeks, or not back-to-back weeks, but back-to-back times playing the Bears in recent weeks, having disappointing performances. What went wrong? Well, let's get into it. Let's start off with this play, because, again, there was this, big deficit early on. Why did that happen? Well, I thought part of what the Bears were doing is just playing good defense, and it's one of those things where the reason why divisional matchups can create upsets relatively frequently is because you know how to play certain players, right? You know how to play certain systems and certain schemes, and especially for a scheme like the Lions, which is so based on deception, it can create situations like this. So the way the concept works is you essentially have, three receivers running different depths down the field. One deeper, one over the middle, and one, not as deep, one shallower, right? And Jalen Johnson, the guy who I've circled, you would think he's just going to cover the shallower route. That's what Goff is expecting here. However, when Goff takes the snap, they go off screen for a second. Couldn't find a great angle to show this play, but doing what I can here. You see Johnson has stayed back and is now covering the more middle route. If Goff threw it underneath, that could have been open, but again, it's easy to see that now. When Goff had to make his decision, Johnson was not all the way over there at that point and maybe could have even ran in and made a play. This is what Goff is probably supposed to be doing. And on a 4th down and 10, I'm going to be honest, even if Goff did notice this, even if Goff did see this, I would probably still advise for him to make the throw because it's 4th and 10 and pushing the ball down the field. I mean, sure, it hurts the stat sheet, but hopefully you don't care about that so much. And who knows, maybe Johnson doesn't get over there. And even if he intercepts it, maybe he isn't able to get, fully over there and, be able to get back to the line of scrimmage, right? And could still be a benefit of an interception instead of an incomplete pass. As you see, though, it is intercepted. Great defensive play. It looks bad on screen, obviously, because you look at it and say, like, oh, wow, you threw it right to a defender. And that is never ideal, but I don't think it's quite as bad as maybe you would originally think. Also, something like this, I think, is another good example where it's going to be a quick wide receiver screen pass. And so, okay, simple enough. Also worth mentioning the situation. It's 3rd and 8. But again, with the Detroit Lions, kind of the way that they like to play their game, they know around this side of the field that they would be very likely to go for it on a potential 4th down situation. So that's kind of why they're running this. But they still want to convert on 3rd down, right? Or at least create like a 4th and 1 situation. But you see when Goff throws it over there, and Penei Sewell was someone blocking, that's also worth noting. But Chicago's all over it. They get over and do not get the Lions don't get the yards that they were hoping for on that play. And again, maybe putting Penei Sewell out there is a bit of a tell that maybe you're going to be, running a screen. But they will, again, it could be a fake, right? You never know. But when things were going wrong, this was what was, I thought, a big part of what was going wrong is the Bears just kind of knew how to play the Detroit Lions. Now, what did the Lions do to finally start getting points on the board? Well, they didn't panic. Something like this is a good example of not panicking. So it's going to be a 3rd down and 1 here, and they're going to just do their offense, right? Run your scheme. Sure, maybe Chicago's over it a little bit, but you don't have to just completely change what you're doing. The way this play works is they're going to kind of fake as though it could be a jet sweep towards the top of the screen to a tight end, but actually it's going to be a pitch towards the offense's right. And as you see that little, hesitation, the way that the offensive line, and really the way the fake was, is the offensive line blocked in that direction, but, it wasn't like a hard, fake with the back or anything like that, because they don't want to slow anything down. You have a scenario right here where Jahmyr Gibbs, who obviously he can fly, there's a Bears edge rusher who got a little bit out of position, and that's all the Lions need. As you see, Gibbs is able to blow by him. He is going to eventually be able to get into the end zone for a touchdown there. I mean, great speed by Gibbs, of course, but also, good play calling and good job not saying, oh man, we can't do any of our typical stuff. No, you can still do your typical stuff. And also heading over to a play like this, sometimes it's just one of your guys has to make a play, right? Something like this. It's going to be a wide receiver screen to Jahmyr Gibbs. He's lined up as a wide receiver, so but it's a screen pass to him. And I've highlighted Tremaine Edmonds, which this is another aspect of maybe why the Bears are a bit of a, good matchup or a bad matchup, depending on how you look at it, because they do have good linebackers, and the Lions like to kind of see what they can do to take advantage of opposing teams' linebackers, get them out of position. Well, it's harder to get the Bears linebackers out of position. That might be a part of it. But anyway, watch what happens here. So Goff is going to take the snap. He's going to flip the ball to Gibbs. And right here, it's Gibbs on Edmonds one-on-one here, 3rd and 4. I mean, again, they're probably they might go for it if they don't convert here, but you might not also. You are in field goal range. You'd be giving up 3 points. If you get tackled for no gain, I don't think it's a guarantee that they go for it, although they very well might. As you see, though, Gibbs is able to make a move. He's able to pick up the first down. Good stuff there by Gibbs for sure. That's definitely, part of what they were able to do is just things like that. Gibbs had a real impact in them getting points on the board. Even something like this, again, kind of a simple play, but zone coverage, just, I think this is another thing they can do, and maybe what they you could argue, should have done a little bit more of is just run these concepts that are designed to get receivers in gaps in coverage. Like watch, as you see, Goff is going to take the snap right here, and right here, there is a little window to potentially, for him to make this throw. Goff is able to hit it. Again, if his first read's open and there's a window, very rarely is he missing that. He has maybe some of the highest hit rates on those plays as anyone in football. Good stuff there by Goff to be able to make something like that happen. But the issue is there's these mistakes, and it's like they got to the point where they were starting to move the ball well. Although I thought the Bears' run defense did a good job of kind of forcing some third and tens, which the Lions weren't able to convert on. But also something like this, where it's just like this is the simple thing. This isn't this is something you have to be able to do. You have to be able to do is snap the ball. As you see, it's a fumbled snap. Again, whose fault is that? Who knows? But it's going to go down as a fumble for Jared Goff on the stat sheet. But either way, it's like these things just can't happen. I always think about the Peyton Manning quote of, if this happens one time, it's one too many. This thing can't happen, and it especially can't happen when you're down 6 with a minute left in the third quarter. These are big mistakes, and it's hard to beat anybody when you're making mistakes like this. And come playoff time, it'll be impossible to beat anybody if you're making mistakes like this. These are things that the Lions, they have to clean up. They just do. And also a play like this, which was it was huge, right? It's a 4th down and 1 situation, and kind of just goes to show the whole situation really where, it's, okay, you need this one. But as you see, when they give the ball to Gibbs, it's just completely blown up. I was going to highlight a specific block, but honestly, there's not really a specific block to highlight. Several Bears players winning on that one, which, that's just the Bears players winning or Lions players losing, whichever way you want to take it. But either way, it was just too many mistakes like these. They made too many mistakes. I think you got to give credit to the Bears defense, which legitimately played well in this game and were able to make some nice plays. Is it long-term concerning? I think the question you have to ask is this repeatable? Can teams that haven't seen the Lions play as much still be able to do this? This Bears coaching staff has seen Detroit for, several games at this point. They've seen this scheme for several games at this point. Can other teams try to replicate it? I don't know. I do think about just something that popped up in my head is evolving the Lions from a few years back, the Matt Patricia Lions, who played the Jared Goff-led Rams. That was one of the rare times Patricia had a good scheme, was able to kind of slow down the Rams, although the Rams still were able to put up a bunch of points because they didn't have the talent. But in the Patriots did a lot of similar things and beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. There is that concern with the Lions. I think there is, but I'm not going to go there after one game. I'm just not, or even 2 games, you can say, because I guess it is 2 games. But I think it's very reasonable to say right now it's probably more of a matchup thing than anything else. But yeah, that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.